continuing our work with the CO2 galvo. Can you hear me? Mic test 1 2. Hello. Hooray! You can hear me. Hopefully it's not clipping. It seems like no matter what I do, this microphone clips. I need to do a full replacement, but we simply haven't had time. I just need to gut like half the setup that we have in this room. And I just simply have not had time for it. Sounds okay. Let's try minus 20, and I'm going to go ahead and pump this up a little bit. Let me know how that sounds. You can't see me. That's true. I guess I don't have a scene with myself. I've got every view in the world, but not me. There we go. Hi, everybody. It's me, Alex, and I'm a mess, in case you didn't know. Let's see. Fit to screen. There we go. This is a laptop cam because I don't actually have a decent camera pointed at me. We're focused on the workspace and Rhiannon and stuff, but we have more to do today. We're going to be continuing on our CO2 galvo journey. So we've got 4-ish more lenses to correct, and then we're going to be cutting focal sticks. So hopefully we'll actually get to that today. I don't know, but we're going to try. Look, it's Chris. And so yeah, that's what we're doing today. We've got all the cameras set back up. So there you can see the 3 lasers. We've got the UV on the left, the fiber in the center, and the CO2 galvo, which is what we're working on today, on the right. There's me. Here is a close-up of the CO2 galvo bed. There is our laser control computer. We've got the top-down view here, so I can show you guys things if I need to show you something. And we've got the microscope. So hopefully we'll be able to get started here in a minute. Laser Nerd says, hey man, I'm kind of a CO2 galvo expert. Happy to help where I can. Yeah, unfortunately, dude, it's just like the tediousness of the task at hand rather than the difficulty. So unfortunately, it's just like gotta take the time it's gotta take. We simply don't have the corrections done. Let me see if I can redistribute my screens here. And I'll show you guys the central document we've been filling out. It's a good thing to show. So here is the spreadsheet. If you've been watching lately, you're familiar with this. It's a very big spreadsheet. There are a lot of columns. Let's see. Can I? Yes. So you can see it's quite long. It's a very long spreadsheet. But we have our machine stuff, kind of our I/O, including our laser sources, all of their specs, the machine and all of the machine specs, and then the optics and all of the optics specs. And each machine here, and each optical device, lens, if you will, all have their own unique identifying serial number, and focal sticks are made for a specific combination of machine and lens serial. So you're always using the exactly correct focal stick for that machine and lens combination. And as you can see, we're rapidly filling this out. We've got very little left to do at this point. Our goal today is to finish these lenses right here. If you can see them over on the right side of the screen. This blank spot here is because the tower is not actually tall enough for the 300 millimeter lens on the CO2 galvo. We can remedy that with risers. Kyle gave me some. They're in the trunk of my car. So we will do that at some point. But my goal really is to get 1, 2, 3, 4 more lenses corrected, and then get focal sticks cut for everything that doesn't have them. Mostly our fiber laser stuff. We have a full set of UV lenses, which is great. And we have a couple of the CO2 galvo ones, but not all of them. So we'll likely have to cut some of those today too. So if we zoom back in to this side of the document, maybe, can we do that? Zoom. Sorry, I'm on a trackpad. Come on. There we go. And we scroll over here. We'll be correcting for warp correction along the X and Y axis, and then getting our red dot set up, and we should be good to go. Like I said, some of these CO2 galvo lenses have focal sticks already that have been tested, and some don't. So we're marking off which ones we actually need to cut sticks for. We don't have sticks for a single fiber laser one, so really we should put that dash if we want to be consistent all the way down here, because we need to build all of those, and we'll check them off as we go. Eli's asking, have you had any luck getting a good frosted look on cast acrylic with the CO2 galvo machine that has the upgraded beam expander and the 20 millimeter galvo head? I've had issues finding a good setting with mine. Yeah, actually, I have something pretty cool. I'll show you. Let me go get it from the office really quick. If I ever told you guys that I liked the CO2 galvo, I would be lying to you. It's my least favorite laser, but this is probably the coolest thing I've ever done on it. And I was just messing around one day. I made this completely by accident, and this is cast acrylic, and it's got a really nice frost to it that I'm sure you can see there. And the thing that sucks about this piece, I've had this piece for a really long time. The thing that sucks about this piece is that I do not remember how I did it. I simply don't remember. I don't remember what lens I was on. I don't remember the settings. And I've always wanted to reproduce this, and I've never been able to because it looks beautiful. I mean, it's really awesome. It's a great piece. So I keep it around. I keep it on hand. Just in case I get the motivation to kind of dive in again and try to figure out what the hell I did to get this awesome result. So unfortunately, I don't have any tips or settings to share with you on that, but I'd like to. I wish I did, because this really came out great. It's a very cool little piece. So just a little thing to share, I suppose. So it can be done. I've done it accidentally, I suppose. So it's definitely on the radar. I just need the time to sit and do it. But it's been so long since I've had all 3 of my main machines calibrated correctly, and I really want to get through that. So we're pushing really hard. That's why there's no podcast today. Also, heads up, guys, no podcast next week, obviously, Christmas Eve. So there won't be any live streaming next week. But we should be well out of calibration by the end of the week this week. I'd like to have sticks cut today or tomorrow, and then we can start doing our like timing and delay, which is going to be kind of the last major hurdle here. And then we can move on to some new stuff, which will be fun. I like doing the live streams again, but the beginning of it here is kind of a bore. So it's a little bit of a snooze fest. So we're getting through it as fast as we can, but I want the data in this sheet, and I want it to be accurate, and I want it to be complete. So that's kind of the aim today. We are just waiting for Rhiannon to get back. She's taking Brock for a quick walk, so she should be back any minute. And then we'll go ahead and pick up where we left off. While you guys were gone, we did finish the 170 millimeter lens, so that is done. So it's 100, f equals 170 by 70. So that's good to go. And we just loaded up the 150, 110. So we should be able to knock these out fairly quickly. You'll also notice we were working on the SL2 compound lenses for the CO2 galvo yesterday. Those are now complete. So we also have that information completely filled out. But yeah, so that's what you guys have in store for today. Again, I know it's not particularly exciting, but this is really important to do. So let me know if you have any questions about anything we've done up to this point. And we'll get started on the next kind of area in just a minute or two. I mean, I was trying to. Somebody wouldn't stop eyeballing me. All right, guys, Rhiannon's here.
Hello.
Let me know if you can hear her.
I ended up taking Brock on a full walk because it's not snowing or raining.
Good.
We were measuring.
What are you measuring? What?
110.
You're on the right screen, though.
That's weird. I did it already. I just didn't click next.
Oh, okay.
With my mouse. There we go. This one. There we go.
So, like I said, guys, we're just going to be picking up where we left off yesterday. Jonathan asks, could you recap how to decide if you need a different lens, uses, capabilities? The makerspace I go to is 2 CO2 gantries and 1 fiber 50 centimeter tower, but nobody ever seems to need a different lens. If you don't have different lenses, you're missing out on a huge chunk of capability of your machine. Rhiannon just asked me this question the other day, so I did a fresh explanation of it off camera. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared to answer this one, John. If you want this explained a little bit more eloquently, because we are live, I do a full breakdown of different lenses and the pros and cons and how they change the effects of the laser in our video, Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers. If you haven't already watched that one, make sure you go watch it, because there's a lot of really good, really important information in that video. Some of which we're just going to kind of barely touch on here. So definitely add that to your watch list. But lenses have optical properties that affect the laser on its way to and at the destination, whatever material you're engraving. Generally, I mean, the first property that we're all familiar with is the size, right? The field size. So that's how much space you get to work with within the scan field. So how large are you projecting that laser onto the surface from the lens? Obviously, the higher the number goes, whether we're talking about the estimated focal distance or the estimated field size, the larger that workspace is going to be. So a 70 millimeter lens, 70 by 70, that would be f equals around 100, would give you about 3 inches square of workspace. If we look at something like the 300 millimeter lens, I believe it's 11.81 square inches. So almost a square foot, which is a huge difference, right? We're going from 3 inches squared to almost 12 inches squared. So that's the first major property of the lens, and that's the one that we're all familiar with. So if you have to do something larger, then you'll need a larger lens in order to get that done. But as with everything, there are caveats and exceptions. So a great example is spot size, right? So we see a trade-off when we blow up the size of our field, because we're focusing from further away. The final spot size that we end up with is larger. Okay, so instead of being, you know, 100th of a millimeter, it might be 1/10 of a millimeter in size. That's just an example. And spot size is something that we track in this spreadsheet over here as we do our lens corrections. We're measuring the spot size as we go. You can see that column right here, spot in millimeters. And as the lens size increases, okay, so here's the rated field size. There's 50 at 0.045. Okay, as our lens size increases, so does our spot size. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. So a larger spot is distributing the same amount of power over a wider area on your material. Okay, so if you're delivering, you know, 80 watts, if you're at 100% power, you're delivering 80 watts to 0.045 millimeters square on the material, that beam is going to be a lot more apparently intense than the same laser at the same wattage spread out over a whole, you know, 1/10 of a millimeter, almost 2/10 of a millimeter here at 0.18 with the 300 millimeter lens. So smaller lenses are typically better suited for ablation and material removal to a point. There are exceptions to that too. And again, we're not going to try to go too far down the hole today, but they're typically better for ablation than larger lenses because you have what we call a higher energy density. Energy density is just the density of energy within a specific amount of space. So the smaller the dot size for any given wattage, the higher the density of that energy being delivered to the substrate. Higher energy density makes it easier to do things like ablate and remove material. The opposite of that is a lower energy density, which you get from the larger lenses. Okay, if we're using something like the 300, you're going to see a lot less ablation and a lot more heating, right? Almost like an anneal, where we're warming the material or heating the material without necessarily vaporizing it during the ablation process. It can be really useful for some things too. For example, if you're trying to remove organic materials or more volatile materials from an inorganic base, like, for example, doing tumblers, right? We want to remove the paint, but we don't want to mark the metal underneath. A larger spot size can be really great for that because it's going to remove that paint without actually damaging the hard surface of the substrate beneath it. Another really good use for larger spot sizes and distributing that energy, lowering our energy density, is things like Z marking, right? Where we're trying to get a black mark on something. That's creating an oxide layer, and that oxide layer can't form if we're just blasting material away. Okay, that's a product of the heat that we're applying. And so a larger spot size makes that substantially easier. So that is the second major property, right? The spot size that we're getting from any given lens. The third is the depth of field. It's a photography term if you're familiar with photography. And the depth of field is simply the distance at which the laser is in focus. It's the depth at which the laser is in focus. Smaller lenses have a shallower depth of field, and larger lenses have a larger depth of field, a deeper depth of field. Why does that matter? Let's say we're doing glass, right? We're engraving a glass. The UV is a very good example. A lot of people like to engrave glasses with the UV laser now. If you are using something like a 100 millimeter lens on a UV laser, your depth of field is going to be extremely shallow. It's going to be very, very shallow. So if we're trying to project that UV laser around the curve of the glass without rotating it, we're not talking about rotaries here, you're going to find that the UV laser falls out of focus very, very quickly. Whereas if we use the 300 millimeter lens on the UV laser, the UV is going to be far more successful in traversing the curve around the glass. And that's just due to depth of field. That's a function of the lens size. Of course, the deeper the depth of field, the larger your spot size. So you may run into other issues with your focus due to the lack of energy that we have to kind of move around, right? We need to balance our field size with our energy density, our spot size, and our depth of field. And so those are the major properties of a lens that would cause you to want to switch. You'd want to switch between them depending on what you're doing. Generally, if I'm going for detail or like a nice detailed deep engraving, I'm going to use the smallest lens I can because it's going to give me the sharpest lines and the most material removal. But if I'm just trying to burn away paint or something off of a tumbler, the smallest lens that I can fit the graphic in is the opposite of what we want. It's the wrong option. We want a nice large dot size so we can distribute that heat more evenly and remove the more volatile coatings without damaging the material underneath. So there's a lot of give and take, and I've given you a couple basic examples. Again, this is all off the top of my head. I give a much more eloquent explanation of this in Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers. It's one of our top all-time viewed videos, and you can find that on the homepage of the channel in multiple playlists. I try to put it as many places as possible so that people who don't know this stuff can watch that first before moving on to some of our other tutorials, because it really is key information.
And you can write down this stuff.
Yep, I see you. I'm coming over.
110.
Okay, 110, no scale, right?
No scale.
No scale, and Y is first. Galvo 1, Y-axis, got it. 0.9395. Got a skew of 1 and a trap 1.0003. I just did it again. I put the X in the first spot. I'm so dumb, dude. Shift tab. All right, let's try that again. So X is the second one. 0212. Skew is 1. Trap is 1.0004. And then Y is the first one, 0.9395. A skew of 1 and a trap 1.0003. All right, you're good. I got it. Eli says, I get amazing engraves on wood, decent engraves on a few colored and painted acrylics, and okay engraves on frosted acrylic, but clear cast acrylic is a bitch. The love for, or I think it means I love the 8X beam expander and the 20 millimeter galvo head. Yeah, that's a nice combo for sure. It makes a big difference. But yeah, I gotta do some more research. I would love to try to reproduce that acrylic mark that we got. I showed you guys earlier because it really is nice. Let me see. I put the piece down somewhere. Ugh. Bouncing between topics, but I will keep up. Okay, so back in the workspace, here's the part that Eli and I were talking about earlier. And as you can see, I did get a nice frost on clear acrylic, but I don't remember how I did it. So we're going to have to do some experimenting after the CO2 galvo is corrected and calibrated and back in action, because being able to repeat this sure would be nice. And I do just kind of keep it on hand to serve as a reminder that we can do this, and it'll give me a target to shoot for when I'm actually trying to get this setting for day-to-day use, because it is quite nice.
Yeah, started.
Scale next.
Yeah.
Only 3 left after this one.
I think it's 4.
We can't do the 300 because the tower is not tall enough.
Got it.
So no 300. So after this one, you have the 200 140 SL1, the 250 175 SL1, and then the 300 210 SL1.
Oh, the 210 that I can. Oh, this is what I have. Okay. We'll be at 200 140. 300 210.
Yep, and then you need the 250 175. And those are all the single layer lenses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then we need to confirm our 2-layer.
We do, yeah. What about them are we confirming? Focal
The
distance?
X and Y.
Uh,
Because didn't you say you were confused about that and then you were unsure
oh yeah,
if
that's
you
right.
marked
Yeah.
them wrong or not?
We do need to check that.
Yeah.
Woo! That's a hot potato. So Rhiannon's now testing the scale that was output by the lens correction. Because for some reason, Lightburn just puts out bad scales during lens correction. So you have to go in and adjust it, which you can do in the machine settings menu here. You just put in the size you requested for any given axis, and then the size that you measured once it was marked, and it will make the required scale corrections for you automatically, which is very nice. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. Sometimes you got to run the process a few times for it to kind of hone in on exactly where it should be, but we've been having pretty good luck with it so far. So in this example, Rhiannon requested a 70 millimeter wide square, and she got a 73 millimeter wide square.
Also, you can see the axis up
Yep,
here.
and you can see the axis at the top.
Which is important because that switched on us from fiber and UV to
Yeah, fiber and UV are x-axis is galvo 1, but on the CO2 galvo, the x-axis is galvo 2. So you got to pay attention to that. So now we're moving to galvo 1. Again, she's looking for a 70 millimeter high box. Yeah, it should be a square. It's not. It's a rectangle, as you can see. This is going to be quite a bit off here.
Yeah.
So requested 70 millimeters.
62.75 is what we got.
Measured 62. Okay,
Pretty
so we're
bad.
almost 10
Yeah.
millimeters short, so it's going to make the scale adjustment there.
Also, if you click OK and mess this up, I've had the experience where it doesn't let me adjust it, so you kind of have to rescale it again.
Good to know. TJ Michael says, I'm nosy. What is that white cylinder sitting above the tub with the blue lid? I don't know. Let me go back to the laser area view. Oh, what is the white cylinder above the tub with the blue lid? The tub with the blue lid is far more interesting than the white cylinder, but that is the Sizer Juliet, which is a vinyl cutting machine. Obviously, you can't cut vinyl with a laser, so we got a decent vinyl cutter. We picked the Sizer Juliet because it doesn't have the same DPI restrictions that Cricut's software does. And the cuts are way more accurate. Yeah. The margin of error is substantially lower with the Sizer than it is with the Cricut. So it's a very good machine. It's really excellent. We've been super happy with it. After mainly
harder to figure out, right?
The setup. I think once I got used to it, I'd say it's easier. But getting used to it's a learning curve if you're coming from Cricut. But the main problem we had with the Cricut was that we would import a graphic to do like a print and cut, because we mostly have it for making stickers, which I'll do an episode on for the Make Army channel at some point. But we mostly got it for doing stickers. And when you upload a graphic to Cricut software so that you can do the print and cut, it maxes you out at 144 DPI, which is just pathetic for printing. I mean, it looked horrible. We were trying to do some really detailed, nice work with it, and it was just unacceptable. There is a workaround where you can print to a PDF and then edit the graphic in like Photoshop and put the higher res artwork in before actually printing it and then print it. And we were okay with doing that for a little while, but then we found out that all of Cricut's machines have a margin of error when cutting of between 1 and 3 millimeters, which is just massive. I mean, it's huge. We were getting terrible cuts, and we looked it up, and lo and behold, 3 millimeter margin of error, which is just completely unacceptable, especially for the kind of precision work we were trying to do with it. So I did a Google search and did some research on the laser, or rather the cutter, the vinyl cutter with the lowest margin of error. And the most consistent result was the Sizer machines, at least in a similar-ish budget. This machine's certainly more expensive than the Cricuts, but not by a lot. And the margin of error is way, 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 way lower. I haven't actually had a single issue with it miscalculating or losing track of where it is during cuts. So it's been great. I highly recommend it. We haven't really talked about it much because it doesn't really fit under the Laser Everything umbrella. But again, maybe we can do an episode on the Make Army channel at some point about stickers or, whatever else with this machine, if that's something you guys are interested in. But I really do like this machine. I bought it with my own. Nobody sent it to me. That was an out-of-pocket expense, and I love it. I couldn't be more happy with it. It's very, very cool. We'll also talk about the tub with the blue lid at some point. Not today. For now, it's going to be a secret. We've been doing a lot of stuff here in the workshop that doesn't necessarily fall under the Laser Everything branding. So that's why the Make Army channel exists, and I hope that we can find time to upload some more stuff to it soon, because Rhiannon and I have been experimenting with a lot of stuff that kind of is laser adjacent, and we've been having great success with it. So I'd really like to dive into a little bit more of that, because a lot of it can do really well alongside laser engraving services. So it's certainly something I'm willing to talk about if there's interest at some point down the road.
Oh,
Are you on the red dot?
a little X scale.
So Rhiannon's over here just making some teeny tiny adjustments to our red dot calibration. Laser Nerd is asking, hey, I was watching Matt's video on CO2 Galvo, and he said it's not faster to do full wraps on tumblers with the Galvo than the Gantry. Do you know what times he's getting on average? I don't. That would be a good question for Matt. You can tag him on the Discord and ask it if you're a member over there. But I do know that in podcast episodes that we've done with him since that episode was filmed, because that episode was filmed like 6 to 8 months ago, he kind of retracted that statement and said that he is getting faster speeds faster run times now with the CO2 galvo than he used to be. So I think he's made some improvements since then to update that.
All right, done.
85.3787.
Make sure they're in the X and Y.
Yep.
I do kind of wish it told
80.6711.
you which was which on this screen.
It does.
On this screen?
Yeah. The
It
box
says-
is checked. It says Galvo 2 is X-axis.
Oh.
See it right there?
I mean, I saw that, but I thought it was just saying is X, like both of them were just X.
No,
I get it
the
now.
only that one
Yeah.
is checked. Yeah.
That makes sense. It's still, I don't like it.
0.08. Scale 1.053. Rest 0. Offset 0.
Wasn't reading it finely
1.075
enough.
and 0. Okay, all set on those.
Cool.
So we are done with the
Yep.
150, 110, and we're moving on to
Yes.
the 200, 140 now.
This is-
My sanity check for you is you're still doing the exports, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing right now. My sanity check for me is that I just make sure it's the right laser.
Yeah.
Like, not UV.
Drumrocker83, welcome back, dude. Says, hi, for safety glasses and or safety acrylic on an enclosure, do we specifically just match the wavelength of the fiber or diode laser, or should we be going for a broader spectrum protection? Seems like some offerings overlap. Good offerings do overlap, but there are specific answers. Since we're here, I will take you guys on a tour really quick while Rhiannon starts to get the next laser set up. So let me switch over to this screen so I can take you guys on a quick little tour. So no IR is really the only place I recommend getting this material from. That is not what I want. Insights, I believe it is. No IR Insight, singular.com. Here's the website. You can get both laser safety glasses and laser safety windows from them. So if you're looking for windows, they have that option. And we can shop by filter here, and you can search by wavelength. So we've got UV, visible, right? So we'd be looking at like blue laser eyewear and infrared, which should cover fiber and CO2. Okay, so there are a few different options. One of my, I'll just walk you through a few of my favorite materials that we have so far. The first is CO2. So if we go to CO2, and we click the top result here, you'll see here's that material, CO2. It's got a 93% visible light transmission, so they're nice and bright. They're also super inexpensive. And these actually have great coverage for UV and 10,600 nanometers. So if we go into the UV spectrum, between 400 and 300, we have 355. You're getting OD7, which is excellent. Excellent protection. Over at the 10,600, we're going to be looking at an OD of 7.2, which is also ideal. The UV laser can be quite bright, so VLT 93% is not always ideal, but I am pretty fond of it. You don't have to look up the wavelength by chart. They usually list them like this, which I'm sure you're familiar with at this point. So for both UV and CO2, I do like these CO2 glasses, but there are other options. Another great option is the YG4s and YG5s. YG4s are great if you want something with a little bit more, or excuse me, a little bit less visible light transmission. YG5 are great if you like them a little bit more visible light transmission. So if we come in here and we scroll down, you'll see the YG5 lenses I'll show first. These are my favorite fiber protective lenses. For UV, you're getting OD5 plus, which is great. Not excellent, but great. For 1064, you're getting 6 plus. So these are really, really good. And with a VLT of 55%, they're fairly bright. They're fairly easy to see through. If you like your lenses a little bit darker, check out the YG4s. And all of these materials are also available in the window format. So you pay for this by the foot. It's quite expensive, but it's reliable, and that's really important with this kind of stuff. So we check out the YG4s, which have a little bit broader spectrum of coverage, but a lower visible light transmission, 37%. So these are a fair bit darker. Here at, let's see, we're not rated at the very least for UV coverage. So I think it still offers it. If we take a peek over here at 350, we're at OD 6.1, which is, again, great coverage. Not excellent, but great. For 1064, oh, we're down here. My bad. I'm not even looking at the right thing. I'm looking at CE. For 1064, 7 plus. Beautiful. We love that. So 7 plus on the 1064 and 6 plus for the UV. So we are in the range there for coverage. So YG4, YG5, very similar lenses. They offer very similar protection, but the YG4 are quite a bit darker. The other pair that I like to show off, it used to be the KTIs, which I haven't seen on their site in a while. Yeah, they're not here anymore. So I don't think they produce KTIs anymore, which I still have a few of in my shop. But instead, you can get the DBYs, which are a really good frame. They're a really great lens material. DBYs are really good for full spectrum coverage. I think the only thing that doesn't fall under the DBYs coverage is CO2. And I don't even know if it doesn't cover it or if it's just not listed, like if they're just not testing for it. But for UV, you're getting 7 plus. Okay, so really, 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 really good UV coverage on that. For 1064, we're going to see 7 plus. And then for 455, which is blue light, you're also getting 7 plus. That's included in the UV range. So this gives you 7 plus for UV, diode, and fiber, which is really nice. They're just kind of like the everything lens. Again, they don't explicitly cover CO2 wavelength here, so I can't make any promises about that. But considering this drop off here, I'd say they're probably not coded for it. But yeah, this is really great full spectrum coverage. The only thing is at 35% VLT, they are pretty dark. Okay, so these are like that kind of orangey red, and they are very, very red when you get them. But they're a really great filter, very good. So I'd recommend the DBYs if you're only going to get one pair. I have all of these that we just talked about. I also don't have any relationship whatsoever with this company. They've never emailed me. We've never spoken ever. I just use them because they're the best. So hopefully that helps. I know it's kind of like a longer explanation than maybe you were looking for, but I think the good eye protection will always come in a range. You'll always get ranges of coverage rather than something that's specifically designed to filter out one wavelength. So check out NoIR, check out some of these filters. Again, we looked at the CO2, the YG4, the YG5, and the DBY lenses. They're all great picks depending on what you need them for. And hopefully that helps.
Taking my sweet time.
I see that. Starting completely from scratch there.
Starting to build up on the side.
Yeah. It can put you off kilter too. Do we have a scalpel? You can just cut those ends off. I have scissors. You want scissors? No, I don't want your crappy scissors. There we go. Rhiannon just felt the need to recoat our acrylic base here. She felt the need to extend her hourly pay. They do call her the queen of the clock because she's so good at running out the clock. Drumrocker says, totally helps. Thanks. Really appreciate the long explanation. Is there any point you'd consider a pair expired and have to be replaced? Just damaged scratches? I don't know. That's a good question. Let me go ask Chris. Yeah. Let's go. Exactly the drop. All right, I'm back. I consulted our literal resident optics expert, and Chris said that you're very likely to damage glasses beyond usability before they degrade as far as any kind of like expiration goes. He said, you know, the optical coatings that he works with, and he's in a very different industry, but he does filter lasers for a living. That's what he does. And he said that, you know, most of their materials are going to last at the minimum 10 to 15 years. What he did say was that, again, in his industry, because he doesn't filter lasers for marking purposes, he's doing it for far different applications. He said that physical damage is going to affect the efficiency of the filtering. So if you have like huge scuffs or really deep scratches, it might be time to replace your lenses. So again, take that with a grain of salt. He does, I can't say it enough, work in an entirely different industry. And this is just his professional opinion based on the materials that he works with on a day-to-day basis. But I'm assuming, and I'm kind of stepping out on an edge here when I say this, but I'm assuming that his work was just highly advanced, has, you know, you're going to find some basis to go off of based on that information. So hopefully that helps a little. Yep.
40. All right, we're ready to do our lens correction.
Right.
Okay. 40. And
Yep. Glad. Huh?
red dot on this like bounds for this particular thing never really shows up. You have to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Drum Marker says, thank you. Appreciate getting that answered. Yep, no problem. Again, big keep of salt with that, but it's something.
Time for those corners.
I know enough about filtering of laser wavelengths to not injure myself, but not much beyond that. So. What, those corners look good. I guess. Nah, fix it.
I thought it was like a little high, but it's still in the 70s, so it's like fine.
Typical.
Stupid lasers.
Goddamn technology.
Like I figured out a new
Hmm.
Next.
Drum Rocker is asking, are there any off-the-shelf enclosures for a fiber that come recommended? Seems to be something that has to be built. Can't find many options. That question is best answered by Kyle. And if he does not get here by the time you stop watching the stream today, I would encourage you to tag him on the Discord to ask him his opinion about that, because Kyle has many opinions about this. It's something he's done a lot of research on, and I would probably disappoint him with my answer if I gave one. So I'll hold off on answering that one, and I'll let you reach out to Kyle if we don't see him today, so that he can share his 2 cents on that, because this is something he's pretty passionate about. I'm like the last person on the planet that would enclose a laser. I spend most of my time trying to defeat enclosures rather than implement them, because I don't really operate my lasers around other people, so they're usually just in my way. I'm assuming you're on the Discord, Drum Rocker. If you're not, there's a link down in the description. Of course, it's absolutely free. So, you know what I miss? Having an excuse to use the IR. Yeah, the infrared. So cool. Wow. Oh, there we go. Look at that, guys. Infrared.
While I'm doing this, you could call the rock lady back and tell her they're done.
Would you want me to do that?
I mean, I don't care. You should call her. So,
When were those due?
I told
Oh, we'll get to it. TJ's asking on Anthony's website that black masking tape, he shows a glass cup with tape on the inside. Will the black tape work like tempera paint? I think he does use it that way. Anthony, he could show up too. I did send out an invite to him this morning, so we'll see how busy he is. But Anthony, for a very long time, and maybe even to this day, does a ton of glass work with diode lasers. And in order to use a diode laser, a blue light diode laser with glass, you absolutely have to have some sort of masking material to absorb that energy and distribute it to the glass. This is something that Anthony's very good at. And I would, again, I'm going to, be the douchebag and say he's the person to ask. You can tag him on Discord as well with your questions. He's really, really good about getting back to people. He's one of the most helpful people we've ever met. It's Ramontes. It is ROM Ramontes. All right, now I got to look it up. I don't remember. Let's see. It is. Why is it not showing me his full user? That is so annoying. What the hell? One moment, please. I think it's Ramontez. Discord is kind of being a butt at the moment. There you go. At Ramontes. Ramontez. And that should get you in touch with him. Brandon's nearly done with the lens corrections here. I don't know. Looks good to me. Taking care of business every day. Like harmonized on that. Wild. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. I haven't even heard that song this year. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. I'm sure you haven't. This is old. And you're a baby. I'm not a baby. I wonder when that song came out. Look. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do.
You've also been singing it all day, so.
Performed by the 10-year-old Gayla Peavy in 1953. So
Than you.
it is, but I'm cultured and you're not. So
That's it. Your baking knowledge is really much better.
that's right. Don't forget it. What do you know about giggity gig? Ee-aw. It's Dominic the donkey.
I had it until I met your family.
Of course you haven't. Yeah, it's not surprising. It's not really a.
Yeah.
It's not really a West Coast thing.
No.
Dominic the donkey. Blah blah blah. Smash the like button if you guys like Dominic the donkey. What do you mean it's not the best? You're a beast.
I mean, like.
From Rocker says Dominic the Donkey is a New Jersey holiday classic, which sounds exactly right.
It does. Okay.
What are you reading? Oh, it's time to write things down. All right, I will update the sheet. Here we go. Corrections for the 200 140. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. X-axis first. 1.0282.
Maybe we will get to the
0.9983.
bubble sticks.
Yeah, we're kind of cruising.
Yeah, as soon as we
Skip
found
the
out
scale. 0.9495. 1 and 1.0009. Done.
done. $140, so we'll just do one.
And I'm just updating our hub doc here. So Rhiannon now has to fix the scale, but we have our warp adjustments done. Well, looks great. Another one's finished. Almost. 2 to go after this.
Probably 2 minutes.
The Italian Christmas donkey.
Dominic the donkey.
All I want to do is listen to Dominic the donkey and eat some fucking ravioli and garlic bread. Drum Rocker says it's one of those Christmas hits you can really pump your fist to. Yeah, you're super welcome for that, by the way.
Dominic the donkey.
Yeah, getting that stuck in your head.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What was that? Oh no. Damn, wrong.
Anthony confirms at TJ, yes, the black tape will work like a fast and easy tempera paint. Dope. That's what I thought. Anthony's been at work for 3 hours and has gotten nothing done, which is all the more reason why he should jump on the stream. Rhiannon's shaking her head yes. Oh, I guess you guys can see that.
So smoky. Gotta scratch that smoky bit since we have this.
Yeah. I think the wavelength is just like I was saying yesterday, it's just like a heat gun, you know, it's like explosive. Bam. Kick it up a notch. $100.12 is acceptable.
Yeah. That was
I think as long as it's like value 0.1x at the most, or value 0.99x, you know, or 0.9x. Or 0.8x, I guess. Math.
cool. Scale check.
Scale check.
Okay. Well, that.
Do 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 do.
Keep forgetting for
M. Parsons says, just started setting up my new fiber while trying to frame. I'm having a hard time seeing the red light. Is it a setting that needs adjusting or is something wrong with the unit itself? It could be just like a crappy red light module. Your like the red dot laser itself could just kind of suck. It could be getting less voltage than it needs from the power supply. So you could check out our power supply testing video where we show you how to test power supplies with a multimeter just to make sure that when under load, it's actually sending typically 5 volts, though that can change, but typically it's 5 volts. So you want to make sure that the laser pointer that is in the beam combiner is actually getting 5 volts of electricity. If it's built into the source, and some red dot pointers are, so they don't use a beam combiner at all, they're literally built into the laser source, then there's nothing you can do about it without replacing the source. So that's kind of handy to know. And I think that's about it. I mean, unless your beam combiner, if you have one, is just set up poorly and you're not getting like good reflection angles. So it's actually, you're like losing a bit of that red laser somewhere. Maybe it's being clipped by the machine housing at some point along the optical path. That could be an issue, but that's pretty unlikely. So the short answer is there's not a lot you can do about it, but there's a little you can do about it if it's really bothering you. So I would start with just open that laser path right behind the galvo scan head and look for the beam combiner assembly. It's usually a red dot laser pointing down towards the floor into a little like box that combines that red laser with the horizontally moving actual marking laser, and it combines them together. If you don't have that assembly, then you have one built into your source, in which case you're really in trouble. That you would need like a source replacement. I never recommend users open up their own laser sources. So that's probably where I'd start with that.
Good to go.
Good to go. All right.
140.
Let's get these values copied over. Warp X 798916. Warp Y 750850. Red dot 6 1.040. Oops. 1.040. 0, 0, 1.055, and 0. Done. Another one bites the dust. 300, 210 is next.
Yeah. Wait, 210 is next? Wasn't there 175?
Oh, yeah. No, my bad. You're right. You're right.
The people becomes the master.
That's right. When I left you, I was but the learner. 250, 175 is next.
Almost dropped that.
Yeah, M Parsons, we have a pretty detailed video actually on like how to test your power supplies with a simple multimeter, just to see if they're putting out the voltage they're supposed to be putting out. 5-volt AC DC power adapters are like so inexpensive, like the actual power supplies, like the caged ones. You could easily replace that if you found there was something wrong with it. So if you have the beam combined one, there is something that you can do. If it's getting the right voltage, it could absolutely just be dim. Some of them just kind of suck. At which point, if you're comfortable splicing wires, you could always splice in a new red dot, something that's a little brighter. So that's absolutely an option too, if you have the time and the skill set to knock that out. You're so close to the end, Brianna.
I know.
Then you never have to do this again for the foreseeable future.
Yay.
Yay.
Can you hear me again? I unplugged my mic like the 10th time.
Oh no. Can you guys hear Rhiannon?
People hear me. Hello. 175. We got that. Focal length for the 175
is 272. So have all of these checked out so far today? So it's just the SL2 ones that are messed up. Well, there's the one SL2 one, but then the other one which we didn't have one for at all. Yeah. Needs all tape, my lord. If you do lens corrections on anything now, you can probably do it with your eyes closed.
Here. 83.27.
I see, said the blind girl. So, such a nice tape job.
Thank you.
So neat and tidy.
So tidy.
Mm.
Right, started.
Here we go again. Gonna do some lens correction.
Did Stanley Cook girl?
She'd mentioned it. We're just moving through this lens, guys. I promise the next couple streams will be somewhat more interesting because we'll have, you know, yeah, something that isn't lens corrections.
Okay.
Yeah.
.47.
No, the Gantry has lenses. That's a good question. The Gantry has lenses, but they're very different. They're much smaller in diameter, first of all. You don't do lens corrections. The whole reason that we do lens corrections is because the laser is coming from a single point and being projected out onto the work area. The Gantry circumvents that completely by just moving the laser head where it needs to shoot.
Right. That makes sense.
Essentially. So you don't have to do lens corrections. The laser's always passing through the same lens at the same exact angle. So for that reason, yeah, Gantrys don't have that. You know, if most things require thinking about them.
81.71.
Now the people know. It's a good question. So close.
You know what that means? We gotta turn this thing.
Yay. I love the sound of the CO2 galvo fans. You can get them air cooled, and I regret not getting an air or a water cooled, and I regret not getting a water cooled one. It's just so much louder than the other two. And it's loud in a really annoying way. Yep, 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Do not like it.
Same. All right.
Okay. Transferring data. Done.
Bam. What size are we on? 140? 175.
That was the
So let's do 120.
why can't I find it? 250, 170.
Yeah.
300, 210? No, 250, 175. Okay. You're confusing me. You're making it confusing for me. How many people? Another good question from Rhiannon. Let's see. 18. K&A Pop says, are water-cooled lasers a big hassle? What are the pros and cons? Well, pros, they can be a butt to maintain. They obviously, like, you need to keep the water fresh. Usually it's a closed system, but that's in theory, not in reality. In reality, they do require water changes every, I don't know, couple months to years, depending on your climate and how well you take care of it. Another con is maybe not power. I don't know what takes more power, spinning the fans or running the compressor. It's kind of hard to say. And then just noise level, like on the UV, a water cooled UV, that I think the chiller would be much louder than the fans on the back of my UV source. But with the CO2 galvo, I think the fans are substantially louder than a chiller would be. So it really kind of depends on what you're trying to water cool. Obviously, water cooling is more efficient generally. But these lasers, unless you're really pushing them super hard for long periods of time, I mean, you're not really going to see the difference in efficiency. They're usually equipped with enough fans to keep them appropriately cool. So if there is an air-cooled option, and there isn't always, some of the higher wattage lasers require water cooling, but if there is an air-cooled option, generally they're sufficient. So really it's just like a noise versus amount of work. The fans are nice because they don't take any extra work. I just turn the laser on and I do my thing. And ultimately that's probably better for me given the amount of free time that I have. But if you have the time to maintain it, I think at least for most CO2 galvo lasers, the trade-off for the noise would be worth it because they are obnoxious. They're just obnoxiously loud. So, but not all lasers have that option, right? Like glass tube CO2 lasers have to be water cooled. Most UV lasers above 5 watts, a lot of the 10-watt ones and all of the 15-watt ones plus all require being water cooled. So it's really more situational than it is like a choice you get to make, I guess, is the best way to say that. K&A says, I was looking at 15-watt UVs and was wondering if air-cooled would be an option. I doubt it. To my knowledge, which isn't always up to date, but to my knowledge, there are no air-cooled 15-watt UV lasers. But that's probably for the best. UV lasers have the shortest life expectancy of almost anything, if not anything that we work with. So making sure that they stay nice and chilly cool while you're working with them is only going to help expand their life expectancy. So. I love the smell of burning adhesive. No, I don't. You know what I do love the smell of? Gasoline. You like the smell of gas?
Red dot time. This is the worst red dot.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse as that dot expands, right? Because it's like the marking laser, you're spreading more visible light out over, or the same amount of visible light out over a larger area, which is annoying. K&A's reminding me of that one time when Jimmy shot me with a laser. Don't move to look at it while Rhiannon is under it. Don't worry, guys. I'm far enough away from Rhiannon that I'm hopefully not at risk of injuring her. Also, I wouldn't pull a Jimmy because I'm not a monster.
Nice.
Anthony.
Hey, yo, what up, dude?
Hey, oh.
Oh, man. I said I didn't do anything yet this morning, and I lied. I had like a cup and a cutting board and stuff, but none of my stuff on my to-do list got done.
Good.
Hooray.
Here you go.
Okay, let's get this data copied over. So
I think I've given up on using the rotary, and I'm going to go with the Lego jig.
Hey, can you talk a little more about the using the masking tape as tempera paint or whatever?
Yeah, it just gives a surface for the laser to hit. So I haven't done this with fiber. Were they talking about fiber or with diode?
I don't recall them specifying. I think they just noticed that you had the tape on the inside of the glass in one of the pictures on the tape website.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Was it on the inside? Huh. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few with the tape on the inside, but mostly I do the tape on the outside. But yeah, it just gives, just like the tempera paint, it just gives a level of interference for the laser beam to hit. I've done this almost 100% with diodes. I've tried with fiber, and it just doesn't. The fiber just doesn't want to. I think the 455 is close enough in wavelength to like UV that it'll try to interfere with the glass or interact with the glass, but it's not great at it still. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's something I've been doing for several years now. I had a piece of glass that I had done with a 5-watt diode and tape, but I blew it up when I tried to see if my 300 millimeter lens on the UV would work with glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rhiannon, I had them mixed up for a minute, but then I fixed it. 76, 84, 54. Yeah, all right. Should be good. Vince says he's never had luck with tempera paint with the fiber.
I know some people have with the fiber, but I think those are kind of oddities, the exception to the rule. I even tried like a beer bottle, like a brown beer bottle, just to see if like the darker color would help, and that didn't really do much.
Yeah.
I just blew up a beer bottle.
He's saying TiO2 works with the fiber though, which I think that's just like brilliance or whatever, right?
More or less, yeah. The titanium dioxide is a cool. It's like the whole NW, the Norton white tile thing, is just the titanium.
That's like the active ingredient in your favorite marking spray.
Yep. I have a bag of that stuff sitting around somewhere that and a thing of denatured alcohol that I wanted to kind of mess around with that stuff with, but I just haven't had time.
It's just like a whole thing, dude. It's like I've got enough to do. If I need to pay somebody to aerosolize it in a can for me, it's just whatever.
I do like the idea of having like a black mark on glass, though. So
yeah,
that's kind of appealing. But
me too.
Not something I necessarily want to bury a bunch of time in at the moment. Dude, I got like 55 minutes of sleep last night.
55?
Yeah, I'm like just running on straight anger and energy drinks right now.
I thought I did bad. I went to bed at like 3:30, I think. I wasn't even doing anything. I just was like not tired.
Yeah, so I left here like 4:30 yesterday. And then picked up my kids, took them home. The wife went to dinner with her cousins, and then she got home from shopping at like 10:30. So I came back to the shop from 11 till like 5. And then I laid down at like 5 o'clock and tried to sleep until 6 when I had to get the kids up and out of bed. So
oh, we don't have a focal stick for this one? What's that one? 300. That's 420, 300. What? Measure. This one should be 335. So way over 335. 409. Well, that's inconvenient. It is. So that's one we need to make. We need to cut that. It's obnoxious.
No other place there'd be a
No, dude. Unless did you look like just down by like the laser boxes? Maybe one like fell behind or something, but otherwise, no. Rob
Unless it's,
from
like, in the-
We Do Widgets says, "Hey guys, how's it going today? Good, man. Hope it's going good for you too. I found a paint that works to color fill glass, and it's even dishwasher safe. $3.35.
we had it set up.
Why? But the last one was $2.72.
I think I remember him posting something about that.
What, Anthony?
Oh, I was saying, I think I remember Rob posting something about that.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's kind of an interesting proposition.
I don't know. I think it sounds like a time suck. I could be wrong. I have no idea what he's talking about. It might be super easy. What? No. No, you're hallucinating. Or I'm deaf.
The front work that we can continue to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably damaged the stupid galvo mirrors at some point or something.
How many lenses y'all make it through so far?
What was that, dude?
Oh, I was just wondering how many lenses you guys have made it through so far.
We got one left.
Oh, nice.
We're on the last one.
That's awesome.
So after this one is done, we will have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 lens corrections.
Wow. That's so
By we, I mean Rhiannon while I answered questions and ran the stream. Which is good. Now you're well practiced and you understand everything there is to understand about lenses.
You're a gosh darn professional.
Okay, let's try 130.
Yeah, dude, I'm like yawning over here. Did you see today's thumbnail by any chance, Anthony?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it's sick. It's got all those focal sticks in it, and we're probably not going to cut focal sticks again.
It's a teaser.
Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. Return stuff. I don't know.
Hopefully by tomorrow I'll be done with.
You sound real quiet, dude. Are you like not by your mic or something?
I should be right by my mic.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Was that better?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe StreamYard's changing your volume on you. Go ahead. You were saying hopefully by tomorrow.
I was just saying, hopefully tomorrow I'll be done with these cups and I can move on to the other cups.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Oh, man. What's that?
Of course. Always more cups.
Oh, always, yeah. Always more cups. But helps keep the doors open, so it is what it is.
Just a spoonful of sugar, some medicine, go down.
Had a guy bring in this nice big, like, butcher's block style cutting board to engrave a poem that he wrote for his daughter. It was really cool. I love that one-off sentimental stuff, you know?
Mm.
Keeps things interesting. It's not like a magic healing stone, but it was pretty cool.
Bro, don't knock the magic healing stone.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Don't knock it till you try it.
That is why we use the tape. Sorry, you guys get to look at the back of my back.
It's a nice back, man.
Should probably move my lasers and computer now that I have more room. That way I'm not crossing the camera's path. There's one thing I didn't think of when I moved my camera.
Almost done. Almost done.
So you guys have any jobs to work on today after you're done with your lens corrections, or?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we're all caught up.
Nice.
Just a bunch of focal sticks to cut.
Remember that news story about the lady from California that stole like $4,000 worth of Stanleys from Target? Every time I look at a Stanley, that stupid story pops up in my head.
I will never forget it. Some lady, like last year or very early this year, stole like thousands of dollars worth of Stanley tumblers from a store. Yeah, you edited that one, I think, the re-release. Yeah. Pretty funny. People are dumb. Me either.
I do not, in fact, own a Stanley Cup.
I don't own the Stanley Cup either.
The only Stanley Cups I own are mess ups.
Hmm.
And even more so, her work would be probably really into that. Six, eight. Hey, guess what? It's done.
Hooray.
There you go.
Woohoo. Yeah. Sometimes for the big bubbles, I'll stab them with something. Yeah, like a pizza. Yeah. That works pretty well too. But yes, this tape in particular is very easy to kind of lift and just replace.
Done. We're using two tens, so we probably do like one. I don't do 30 because I think the caliper is still.
Beautiful.
Again.
Rob said you have to bake that paint, so that kind of sounds like it's
Oh,
an extra step.
I don't want to bake shit.
Still kind of cool. If I add that to Melissa's stuff, if I ever have time to screw around with.
You can tell the scale is off because the red dot is so far from it.
Yeah.
I had to do this color hibiscus last night, and that was a nightmare. It's like a fluorescent pink. That one did not want to engrave.
6.
I think a big reason a lot of that smoke doesn't go into the exhaust is because the server fans that are cooling the CO2 galvos RF tube have like a downdraft. If you put your hand under the body, they kind of like push the air like down and away.
So it's fighting against your exhaust.
Anthony, dude, for some reason, man, you are just like so quiet today.
Really? That's
Yeah,
really
usually I
weird.
have like no problem hearing you. I don't know why it's so damn quiet. My laptop volume's all the way up.
That is weird because I have
Edit mic
my
settings. I'm gonna
lav
jack
mic.
shit up. Oh, that didn't really help either. Anthony's good, they say in chat, so it's just me. Maybe I'm just going deaf.
Oh, sorry, dude.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we also are sitting
Going
right
deaf
next
sucks.
to the galvo, which is not helpful.
You're like on a runway right now.
Dude, yeah, for real. It's so loud. Chat told me yesterday they couldn't hear it, but like, God, it's just obnoxious.
Yeah, I never really heard it yesterday either. So your noise cancellation is doing a good job at least.
Hooray.
If that's any consolation.
Yeah, that makes me feel way better about going deaf. How far off is this one?
Which is really close, but the other one was a little bit more off, so.
Yeah.
20.
The sooner we can turn this fucking thing off, the better.
There been any good questions today?
We had a few. We talked about laser filtering, both lenses and windows. We visited OIR's website, some classic stuff. Nothing you haven't heard us answer before.
Right.
All right, somebody was having an issue with their red dot.
We will do the red.
Rhiannon has finished the scale for this lens, which means all that's left is to make a quick red dot adjustment. And then we're done.
Yay! Still, both of these is pretty significant.
This powder coat's
Okay.
been bubbling. I haven't seen that in a while.
Okay.
I'll grab some out of my office. Be back in a minute.
Hopefully that's a good sign when it bubbles up that it'll come off easily. Colors are so crazy when it comes to these powder coatings and the lasers and how it reacts. Going from a cream white to a very light blue made a huge difference in power. Let's see, Drum Rocker 83 says, is a chuck rotary or a roller rotary a more capable accessory, or both good to have? I always prefer a chuck because it like has a more of a mechanical lock on whatever item it is that it's spinning versus you're just relying on very simple friction when you are doing a roller rotary. So my personal preference is if you can use a chuck on it, then use a chuck on it. There are obviously some situations where you might not be able to. I know Jason, the Rotoboss, has like a attachment for like dog dishes and stuff like that for one of his rotaries, but unless you have something like that, then doing like Yeti dog bowls or something along that line might be more difficult. You'd have to use a roller. So there are use cases for the roller, but if I can use a chuck, I'd really rather use the chuck. And then sometimes you just use a good old Lego jig. Yeah, dude, the Lego jigs they make it a lot easier for like batch work, in my opinion. So like when I do the black RTIC cups for a coffee shop that I do work for, I'll just build a Lego jig that I can just slap the cup in, drop the handle down, and I have a Lego underneath the handle that holds the handle at the right height. And it just drops right in. You do the engraving, pull it off, throw the next one on.
Wait for a moment.
Wait, turn that shit off.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
With these, it's a little more complicated. What I have found is that this Stanley here is usually on the same plane as the Stanley logo on the back of the cup. It'll either be upside down or right side up. But either way, you can use that as a measuring point. I've been using this level to make sure that that text is flat to the deck, which means that the logo I'm engraving will be 180 degrees opposite the Stanley logo. So. This blue's kind of funky.
Oh, Rhiannon did it. We have lens corrections for almost every single lens we own.
Oh, we need the soundboard with the air horn.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Actually,
I do need to get the risers Kyle gave me out of my trunk in my car so that I can actually nice. So I can actually do the 300 lenses for the CO2 galvo and the UV. But other than that,
Which ones do you have? Do you have like the cylindrical ones like Silent Manufacturing does, or the kind of boxy ones?
they're like cylindrical ones. I think Kyle got them from oh my god, I'm blanking.
Does Blackwell do those too? Or...
What's the brand of laser Kyle got first?
Oh, Wisely?
Wisely.
Okay. Yeah, mine you can see in the video right now. Actually, there's just 100 millimeters from Silent Manufacturing. Apparently, they're sold out, or I don't know. I posted a link the other day on Discord to somebody that was asking the question, and they said they couldn't open the link.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. It looks just like those anyway.
Oh, cooking.
All right, we getting any other stuff done today on stream? Having an early.
I think that we'll probably save our focal sticks for tomorrow.
Okay.
So
You can make them on Lightburn.
yeah, we have a whole file set up for them and everything. You can actually download the focal stick file that we use to cut the focal sticks from the project database on the website at lasereverything.net. So if you need them, or if you want to prepare, you want to do this alongside us, feel free to grab those. I'll put a link in the description. That was the door. Yeah, Anthony, I think we're out today, dude.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good
Kind of
timing. 'Cause I
short.
gotta,
You know what?
oh, I was just saying I got to grab my kid off the bus, so I was going to tell you
All
I got
right.
about a half hour left. But shoot, if you guys are going to call it, then
Yeah, I think I'm going to call. We've been
Perfect
going really late. We've been doing like really long streams.
yeah.
So I think we're going to try to keep them just a touch shorter and a little bit more concise. This feels like a good natural stopping point.
There you go.
So we've got a list now. So anything with an X next to it, we have a focal stick that we've measured and it works correctly. And anything with a dash next to it is either missing or broken or never got made. So we've got a good chunk of focal sticks that we will cut tomorrow on stream. That'll be fun. I'll have to reconfigure my setup a little bit because the mirror is very far away from where I have all the streaming stuff kind of set up right now. But I will deal with that, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll cut some focal sticks, and then we'll do timing and delay. Woo, timing and delay. I know it's everybody's favorite topic, but once that's done, like, we should be in really good shape with these machines, which feels good. I don't think I've ever been. This is always something I've kind of like wanted to do, but I've never just had the raw time to just dump into it, you know? Just having all the information about everything and having it well organized. So, yeah, guys, I think that's where we're gonna end it today. Since it's Tuesday, we are not having a podcast tonight because we have a stream up. So if you were here live with us, thank you so much for joining us live. Also, since it's Tuesday, that means that this live stream was sponsored by, you guessed it, Johnson Plastics Plus. I think you can still get an order from them by Christmas if you absolutely need something and you're like in a dire situation. Don't quote me on that. Check their website. What you can quote me on is the 15% discount you get by using the code that we have in the description. It's YLRZDF at the time of recording. That gives you 15% off almost everything in the store, which adds up very, very, very quickly. If you want to find out more about the products that they offer, you can check out one of our many, many videos on them, or just go hunt around the site. I guarantee you're going to find something you like over there. We've been using JP Plus for a long time, and they've always taken really good care of us, and they've got amazing products. So make sure that you check all that out. Links, relative links, or related links rather, are down in the description for you already. So you go check those out now. Get ready to wrap up system calibration, guys. We're almost to the end, but I think that's all I've got. So unless you have anything to add, Anthony, beam it up lasertape.com. Then I think we're good. I think that's all I got. You good, dude? I'm going to assume Anthony's saying yes.
I don't know. You straight cut out, dude. Your mic started cutting out, and then I didn't hear anything for like 15 seconds.
Well, I was just saying, unless you have anything to add, Anthony. I think that's everything. And then I said,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
.com.
okay.
Appreciate that.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
So the restaurant name, Cheese Family Restaurant, is what she wants under the logo. That's fine, right? It's the handle.
Yep.
And then cost, but she also has this one, so same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should be okay.
Yep, both look
I said
fine.
normally 30, but since there's two, it might be different.
I'd say like $45 for the pair before Friday.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Nope,
We need to
that's
know?
they're black. It's the easiest color. We should be in good shape. And now we've got a job to work on. So we'll probably do that tomorrow before we get started on the focal sticks. But
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for being here again live. You guys are my favorite. So glad that you come out time and time again to hang out with us while we're doing this. If you want to support the channel, make sure you go over to lasereverything.net/support to find out how. Please smash the like button on your way out the door. Leave a comment after the stream is over. It really helps us with engagement and getting found on YouTube. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode, probably tomorrow. Good afternoon.
Have a great day, man.
See you.